What's going on, good people? It's your boy TL Savage here, back at it today with another video, and I just wanted to come on here and talk about KamenRiderZeztz, bruh. Zetz's first episode dropped on, Saturday, my time, and I said I was gonna make a video on it, like, I think either the night of, or like, the day after the premiere, and I just wanted to commit to actually making that video. So, the first part is gonna be just my overall thoughts on the first episode, and the second part is going to be the two things that I wanted to talk about that I outlined in my tweet. So getting into the first episode itself, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I'm not going to sit here and say it was like the craziest first episode in Rider history. I think it was okay. It was enjoyable, but it was just okay. It wasn't anything crazy. Like, it's not like I'm not going to tell anybody you have to watch this first episode. It is the best thing ever. Like, I'm not going to say anything like that. It's more like, okay, it was cool. It did what it needed to do. Introduce us to the characters, the world, a little bit of, mystery and intrigue to it, like what's going on, which most shows do. Coming out of episode 1, there's a couple questions. Number 1, how real is code? Because the first episode at first implies that it's all Baku's imagination. But if that was the case, the ending doesn't make sense. Because if it was all his imagination, why is the driver in the real world? Why does Zero end up being the bike? Why is there a whole room of these stuff? Also, we gotta, the two golden hands that pulled Baku into the ZEZTZ room. All those things kind of make me think that no, that's not his subconscious. Even what Commander Zero said, it's like, no, that can't be just his subconscious. There has to be more to that than, oh, it's his subconscious, he created all this. There's got to be something else there. But there's that. Nox, in general, is just, we gotta wonder, like, what's going on with Nox. Nem is also as well a question, because we know she can appear in anybody's dream. So what is that about? How can she do that? It seems like she's a real person, because I was wondering if like she was creator or something, but it seems like she is a real person to a certain extent, because there's commercials and whatnot of her, which her character bio did say. So if she's a real person, is she a lucid dreamer as well? Because she can, from the trailers and whatnot, it seems like she can change her outfit as she sees fit. So what's the deal with that? What's her deal, right? The two police people, like, they're just kind of here, and let's just get that out of the way. The main characters to really think about in this first episode are Baku, naturally, Minami, and Tetsuya. Natsuka just kind of shows up, introduces herself. Nem is just a hostage. She's just a damsel in distress for most of the episode, so we're not really getting into Nem as a character until next week. Nox is there, but he does the classic Toku villain thing of, I'm here in the first episode just to let the audience see I'm the main villain, for now anyway. Zero Two, he's just kind of there. I think he's gonna be in his bike form next episode, so that'll be interesting, because what's the deal with the shadow guy? If Zero's gonna end up being the bike, there's some questions, right? But getting into the grander scheme of things, Baku himself as a main character, I like him. He's just like the first episode itself, he's not like a super stand-up from the jump. I do find his bad luck interesting, because part of me was thinking, oh, it's just going to be the gag, right? He wants to help people in real life, but then something happens, right? But this episode, he gets hit by a car, and then I talked about this on Twitter. There's literally 3 like article screenshots that show up in the episode that talk about him surviving a lightning strike, surviving a shark attack, surviving a meteor strike. Like it's crazy. And then of course in Gas final episode, spoilers, he gets electrocuted by UFO. So it starts begging the question, like, what's going on here? Like, why is all this happening? Because I don't know if it is just gonna be a gag, because they play it serious, so it makes me think there's more to it than what is actually going on. Because we do see during his first attempt at fighting the gun nightmare that the nightmares can affect the normal world, because we see at one point the gun nightmare has Baku's dream self in like a chokehold, and his real life body lifts up out of his hospital bed and gets thrown back down, his heart stops. So now I'm wondering, like, is this, except for the UFO, is this just all nightmares just screwing this guy over? Like, I saw someone maybe theorize that perhaps Baku's lucid dream ability is what is kind of causing nightmares to target him. But we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll just be a thing and it won't have some bigger implication. Maybe it will. We don't know. But Baku is a character, you know, he's kind of the standard, right? He's the guy who wants to do good by others and wants to help other people. But there's that added element of the bad luck, right? So it's like, as much as he wants to help people, you also got to consider, is it really good for him to do so? Because there, in theory, there would come a point where it's like something bad happens and he doesn't come out of that. So then it's like, but he's kind of the basic, you know, I want to help people, right? I want to be a good person and help people kind of character. In this episode, a little girl gets damn near kidnapped by a guy. Stranger danger is dead, I assume. And he goes to try to help, which leads to them getting hit by the car, which, while he doesn't actually save the girl, because of him getting hit by the car, the kidnapper lets the girl go and runs off. So in a way, he's still helped, hence the car. But it's just you know, it's just kind of crazy, man. Just, you get hit by a car. that's your first heroic thing you try to do in the show, and you get hit by a car. It's actually insane, the idea of every time he tries to help somebody in the real world, he ends up paying for it in, you know, some way. But that's the point of the dream, right? Where he can help people as the secret agent without that fear of getting hurt, because he can control his dreams, which is a very interesting idea. And I even like his cockiness in his dream, because it makes sense, right? Because we don't know how long he's been having lucid dreams, right? We don't know how long it's been a thing. But if he's been having it for a while, of course he'd be confident once he realizes he's dreaming, because it's like, oh, I'm dreaming. I'm invincible in my dreams, so I'm not worried. But then the moment the nightmare starts basically just no-selling all of his offense, that's when that fear comes back in, right? That he had before he realized he was dreaming. And I'm just really curious as to when that's going to play a role in the bigger story, because ending of the episode shows that the ZEZTZ driver and the capsules and the phone all end up in the real world with him. So that makes me, I was pretty sure of this before, but now I'm thinking even more so that at some point the nightmares are going to be almost exclusively in the real world, and he's gonna have to fight them without that blanket of I'm an invincible agent. And that's gonna be another, you know, point to show how good of a person he is, right? Where he decides, even though he's in the real world, even though helping people brings on bad luck, he still decides to fight as ZEZTZ and whatnot. But yeah, but overall, I like Baku, right? You know, and you know, he's fine. I like him. He's fine. You know, he's nothing too crazy though. Nothing too crazy. Moving on to Minami. She's interesting as well. For the fact that initially, right, when Baku's talking about, you know, him wanting to get a job that helps people and whatnot, she cuts him off and is like, don't do that. And it's a very serious moment, right? Like, they're going back and forth, they're having banter, but then it gets serious. I think the music even cuts off, where she's like, don't do that. And then she plays it off as like, listen, just I forgot what she said actually, but she tries to basically play it off, right, as just a throwaway line. And then once we get to the hospital scene where we see all the, you know, articles and whatnot, then you get it. On the surface, it appears that it's just because every time he tries to help somebody, he gets hurt. So naturally, she doesn't want her older brother to get hurt. But her special is about a certain mission that happened before the series. So it makes me think, is like, what if Minami knows more about this secret agent stuff than she lets on, right? Maybe she knows more about certain stuff than she lets on, and that is also the reason why she's so, you know, anti Baku helping people and dreaming and whatnot. Maybe that has something to do with it, right? I wonder if there's something that may have happened that we're gonna see in that special that showcases why she's so like nervous about him helping people. I don't know. We'll see what happens, you know. I think the first episode was released the same night. I don't know how many episodes the special is, but I'm probably gonna give the special a watch, you know, just to see what happens. And then we have, was it Tetsuya, the police guy. The only real intriguing part about him is the fact that he already knows what nightmares are, because usually if you're gonna do something like a police type character, usually they don't know anything about the villains or the monsters, and they're figuring out as they go. But from the jump, he already knows what the monsters are called and everything, right? So it makes me think, what has this man been through that led him to figuring out, oh, what's you know, these are nightmares, this is what they do. Because the implication, I feel, is that he knows a lot, or he went through something personal with them, right? And then later in the episode, towards the end, when Nox knocks over the when Nox knocks over the flower vase, it doesn't move in the real world, right? But Tetsuya still turns around like he felt a presence or something. So now I'm like, huh, does he know something himself, or is this just kind of like, oh, he's doing research? Because nobody in real world can see the nightmares, from what the brief moment of Baku getting lifted in the real world implies. No one else can see them, right? And also, he can't see Nox either, so that's another part of it. Nobody can see Nox. So the implication there is that they can't see this. So how does he know that nightmares exist, you know? And you can argue that, oh, probably like, you know, someone came and was like, oh, you know, I faced this crazy thing in my dreams. But it doesn't make sense still, because how would he know the monster name? You know, like, how would he know that? So is there something with Tetsuya? I don't know. At the press conference, Natsuka's actress, who was previously KamenRider Lopo and ZEZTZ, and Tetsuya's actor, they pulled basically like there's something there, but they can't say what it is, right? So which I'm not sure what that means, you know, without seeing it in action. Does that mean one of them's going to be a rider? Who knows? Because the thing about it is, Tetsuya's actor piggybacked off of what Natsuka's actress said. That's the thing. Because she said something about, I can't say too much, but pay attention to Natsuka's kicks, right? Which, of course, is like, that's a very interesting comment. Kicks in a KamenRider show, that's a very interesting comment, but, you know, it could be just something else, you know, and nothing too serious, right? But then Tetsuya's actor was also like, yeah, I can't say too much either, just you know, pay attention to it. So I think the two of them are going to be more important than just being these two police officers, right? But especially Tetsuya. I feel like there's something with Tetsuya, bro. How does he know the stuff he knows already? It's very interesting. But that's kind of my thing, and that was what I was referring to with Tetsuya and Minami in my tweet, right? I kind of, without not really thinking about it, I kind of just did the second part of the video without really meaning to. But they're very interesting characters, because to me, initially, I'm like, they have to know more than they're letting on. There's no way that they just don't know anything. Something about Minami's reaction to Baku wanting to help people and getting jobs that can help people, that's very interesting. Again, from the surface, it's played off like, oh yeah, because he has bad luck. But there's something about that initial, like, don't do that, that feels like there's something else there. And as of Tetsuya, as I just said, he knows more than even the main character, right? Zero would obviously know what's going on. With the fact that Zero even knows what's going on also implies that code is a real thing and not something purely in Baku's imagination. So there's that. So those are the two characters that right now I'm gonna keep an eye out for. Nox, of course, you know, he's the main villain. We don't even know if he's gonna be the only villain right now. So there's that. As for the other characters, again, we need to see more of Nem before I, you know, make a decision on whether or not I like her character or not. I'm about to say like her actress, but that doesn't have anything to do with the character. I gotta see more about Nem before I like the character, you know, because right now she's just okay. She's a popular celebrity that can enter dreams. The important part, the important / interesting part, is why can she do that, right? Because she's not a code agent from what we know. So why can she enter dreams? And I'm assuming she has to be a lucid dreamer of some way, in some way, shape, or form herself. So what's that about? We'll see. And is there another character I'm forgetting? No, I think that's everybody. Oh, Natsuka. And Natsuka, just in general, we're gonna see what's up with her. We're gonna see what her actress was referring to in the press conference. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, but to kind of put a nice little bow on everything, ZEZTZ was cool, man. It was a cool first episode. Again, nothing super crazy, but it was fun. It was a good starting point, is what I'm trying to get. It was a good starting point. We just got to see what happens afterwards. But that's about it for me, man. If you like this video, go ahead and like it. Don't forget to subscribe and share the video. And I'll get out of here. All right, peace.